Join ForumIAS Academy, trusted by hundreds of toppers, including IAS Rank 1 Anudeep Durishetty, Shruti Sharma, and 𝐏𝐫𝐞𝐥𝐢𝐬.
Hello everyone, welcome to the series Key Concepts in Anthropology. The topic which we are going to discuss today is applications of anthropology. So in the last couple of video series, I have been talking to you about certain specific concepts in anthropology. Let us today try to understand how applicable anthropology is in our daily lives or in policy matters, in the health sector, in business, education, etc. So that you understand the length and breadth of the discipline and what kind of practicality can I see with respect to using anthropology in our daily lives, right? Before jumping directly to the applications, I'd like to introduce one term over here. The term is called as applied anthropology. Now, what do I mean by applied anthropology? If you break down the term, I'm talking about practical applications of anthro. So in what sort of practical ways will I see application of anthropology so as to it being able to benefit us in our daily lives? So there is a whole sub-discipline which is dedicated to the very study of variety of applications of anthropology, and that field is called as applied anthropology, right? There is another term, related term, which is called as action anthropology. So you can understand by the term itself, when I say action anthropology, that means anthropology in action. So where at the ground level, suppose a particular ethnographic research work is being carried out, and I see researchers there, students there, applying anthropological technologies, tools, and research tools. So that is anthropology in action. Or another very good example can be any kind of a policy paradigm that has come into enactment after anthropological insights and after anthropological deliberations, and it is very widely acceptable for the common people. That is also action anthropology or anthropology in action. The two terms are clear. Both are related to applications, right? Now I'll break down sector-wise to give you an idea that how actually we see application of this discipline in our daily life. For example, the first one could be governance. The second one, human rights. Third is with respect to business strategies. So it might also be called as business anthropology. Fourth is in the field of education, right? And fifth is in the field of environment. So on, you can have application in the field of museums and also in the field of disaster management. Another application in the field of sports. There is a special term for it which is called as kinanthropometry. This application has been asked by UPSC in the mains examination earlier on, right? I'll just give you a brief overview of how do I see applicability of anthropology in all these areas. With respect to governance, what can be the help? For example, we all have been talking about participatory rural appraisal. You will study this as a research methodology in anthropology also. And otherwise also it is a very common kind of a solution which is given to address any kind of tribal issues or rural issues where any kind of a broad policy framework is not being accepted by the common people to a great degree. And when we use the term participatory rural appraisal, we mean that we actually accommodate the feelings, the perspectives, and the voices of the people for whom we are trying to create, policy interventions. So that is the meaning of participatory rural appraisal, where we see a categorical participation of the tribal or rural cultures. So I hope you understand why I am using the term tribal or rural here, because these are the areas in the country, or for that matter in the world, who see a certain degree of deviance from the norm of, a multitude of policy frameworks, right? Second example I can give you here is of the tribal Panchsheel policy. How many of you have heard about this policy? Tribal Panchsheel. This was brought down during the reign of our first Prime Minister, Shri Jawaharlal Nehru, and he was assisted by an anthropologist, 𝐿, and they put together this tribal Panchsheel policy, which was more or less of neither an entirely exclusionary approach nor a completely submissive approach of the tribals into the Hindu mainstream. It is very famous tribal Panchsheel policy, which tried to keep the tribal areas as autonomous as possible while maintaining the stand that they were an integral part of India. This is the example of how anthropology has been used in policy making or governance, right? Second example is human rights. Do you remember in one of these sessions, I discussed with you the concept of cultural relativism, and there also I highlighted that what might be a very kind of a acceptable approach or a practice in one part of the world can be considered to be entirely an absurd thing in the other part of the world. That kind of, representations about certain facets of a particular culture are considered as ethnocentric points of view. But being a cultural relativist means that you are recognizing that why the opposite community has a certain set of practices. And that builds a respect for human rights, right? So there is also a debate that how to balance between cultural relativism and human rights. For example, if you go to African tribes, they believe that there is no need of schools, certain African tribes, that there's no need of schools because their prominent occupation is pastoralism, and any kind of life skill that is needed for their children to learn can be learned in their daily lives by helping their parents out by the practice of pastoralism. So they think that there's no need to go to the formal schooling with an international board or any sort of a board. That is coming from their cultural perspective. But on the opposite hand, if I look at the Human Rights Declaration, it is a blatant violation of the basic right to education, which cannot be denied to any child. So sometimes there is this issue that how to balance between cultural relativism and human rights, right? The third angle is of business anthropology. Let's say when anthropologists are studying certain specific local cultures and they are preparing ethnographies, they also tend to study the traditional market structure. And when they are studying the traditional market structure of these villages or tribal hamlets, they also get to know about their traditional marketing strategies. You know, what is actually working at the tribal level, at the hamlet level, rather than what is working at the NCR level. It will be entirely different. So these studies of various groups and their marketing strategies can be incorporated into modern day strategies as well, right? The most great impact in terms of education would be one with respect to research methodologies that anthropology has brought forth, which has led to publication of so many ethnographies which have added value to the world in one way and the other, and they are adding even till today. Anthropology is all about education anyways. It is a discipline in itself, right? Application with respect to environment comes in when we talk about cultural ecology in our anthropology discussions. That what is the relationship between environment and humans? How are tribal people dealing with frequent environmental fluctuations. What are their adaptive strategies? All of this comes under the environment section. In the museum section, in museumology, if I have to apply anthropology, I'll study the unique interrelation between the museum objects and the humans. For example, if I come to your house and you have a particular painting, it will not be placed there just randomly. There has to be some kind of a association or a thought process which has gone behind you putting that painting up. Right? So if I have to study that painting and your emotions with respect to the equation between the both of you, I use anthropology. Right? Similarly, when we talk about disaster management practices, like I was telling you in the cultural ecology framework, where we talk about human and environmental connections and what kind of resilient practices do these tribes and local peoples adapt, to save themselves from these disasters. So that can be applied again. And the last one is application of anthropology in sports, which I have also written down in the bracket. The technical term for it is kinanthropometry, which talks about the measurement of certain indices of human beings, about the diameters, width, skin girth, etc., based upon which sports equipments are designed. More on these topics in our classes. Thank you so much.